RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What's up? Oh boy, that's loud, right? How did that music sound coming out? My producers in the chat room. Hello, everybody. This is Tara Devlin, unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you for hanging out. This is our regular Friday evening get together. Nice to see ya. Nice to see ya, everybody. If you want to hang out with the greatest chat room, in the greatest chat room in American history, come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. Thank you, Jim, for the feedback. Looks good, sounds good. All right, nice. Very good. Thank you, Jonathan. Nice to see you, River. Nice to see you, Kathy. Nice to see everybody. Twisted Nerves Painting is here. Kathy's here. Jonathan's here. Jim is here. Thank you for being a moderator, Jim. Thank you, River, for hanging out. And more will be arriving. And Ed, how can I miss you, Ed? You're all the way at the top. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat right out of the gate. All right, let's, what else? I just also have to check. I have to thank Charlie from APS Radio News for his non-stop, never-ending support of Tarabuster. And it means a lot and keeps the show going and growing. This show is also available on APS Radio News, for the most part. And there are other independent media voices over there that Charlie curates, and I'm very lucky and fortunate and honored to be part of the APS Radio News roster. So check that out. What? River just gave me gave the show a very generous, amazing super chat. Thank you, River, for your amazing super chat. That is the third super chat according to this thing over here. It says, let's celebrate the third super chat. Is it a third? Is it the third for River? It doesn't seem... Oh, I guess it is. It says 3 right there. I'm still figuring it out, all these little bells and whistles that are coming up with this YouTube channel. I don't know what's going on with the memberships. Hopefully, maybe they're active. I don't know. I have to put some emojis up and making the show better. Don't worry, it'll happen. Thank you, River. Wow, thank you so much. And I don't even know what to say. I'm blown away. Thank you for, always being here and, keeping the show going. I can't do it without you. So I can't do it without Charlie either at APS Radio News, and also the community cats. Charlie donates to the community cats, and that means a lot too. That keeps us going and growing. Well, the cats out there, it helps because it is winter here in New York, and it makes a difference. So thank you so much, Charlie. I hope you're feeling better, and I hope we're all feeling all right. We have a fight ahead of us. We have to what am I saying here? I'm just checking. Hold on, blah blah blah. We'll be in the show in a second. Oh, here we go. I forgot. I knew I had to press another button. So many buttons to press. And so little time. Okay, so let me see where to begin. Okay, Trump was yet again. Here's, what's so tedious about living in this very interesting time to be alive, watching the last days of the American Republic. Hopefully not the last days. I do hope that we will destroy fascism yet again, once and for all. Well, for a little bit. It's never gonna be once and for all. It'll be for the time being. We have to impart that wisdom onto the younger generation, that once we smash fascism into history's trash bin yet again, you can't you can't just rest on your laurels. You can't just expect the future to run with the ball. It's a constant battle to keep this country as a free, constitutionally limited democratic republic, as we see. A republic if we can keep it. No truer words were spoken. Well, there was some true. I got some true words. I got some words, and I'm speaking them real good now. So, today, the traitor, the tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator con man with the fake university, the vitamin scam, the classified documents in the shitter, and the history of sexual assault, including being adjudicated by a jury of Americans, not his peers. There's no peer to a parasite that large in the country, but a jury of actual humans adjudicated him a rapist, that he had sexually assaulted E Jean Carroll. This is not a dispute, but today E Jean Carroll dragged the con man back to court. Well, not just today, but because he can't stop the rules for the rest of us. He's got his own set of rules. The law doesn't apply to him. He's been getting away with being a con man for his entire life. So, why should the rules apply to him now, especially when he was the so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes, and which he turned as the Democratic report revealed with the receipts that the Republicans don't want to talk about, because they have so poisoned this country. That and one of the things that really gets on my nerves, because the corporate media engages in this too. They'll say a Reagan appointed judge or a Obama appointed judge. This should not even be a factor, but this is what we're dealing with. That they have so divided this country that this is it matters. Oh, so it's a New York jury found that the con man raped E Jean Carroll. It doesn't count. And Republicans, I guess, because they hate America. This wasn't Trump's doing solely. They've been building up to this over time. Going back to George W. Bush, talking about Massachusetts liberals and New York liberals and California liberals, and how, he's not like those California liberals, but it's always the Republicans. So it's the Republicans that play that game of divide and conquer, because the Democrats, meanwhile, are trying to govern. They're trying to have a functioning democracy. They're trying to invite the Republicans to participate in that. Try to adult once in a while, Republicans, and join us in this grand experiment, won't you? No, they won't. They don't give a crap who they don't really care, because it's really all about power. And we see this with the Republicans. Or even more. It's even more, I guess, epidemic, and it's more critical at this point, because they're calling for civil war. They've been calling for civil war for a long time, but that's been kind of under the radar. Now it's out in the open. Anything that happens is, a call for civil war, because they'd rather have this a civil war, because they can't function in a free democratic society. They'd rather tear the country apart than actually legislate, as we see. So today, what happened, of course, the con man was yet again a jury of American citizens did their civic duty and listen to listen to both sides of the argument. Did the con man disparage E Jean Carroll? Did he harass her? Did he, he was already he was already judged to have raped her, but he was also told not to disparage her, and harass her, and that's what he was doing. Because rules are for the little guy, like taxes. He doesn't pay taxes either, and that's taxes are for the idiots like us, the billionaires. We pay the taxes so they don't have to. And hold on, we're coming right back with the story of what happened today. All right. So, the thing that is so tedious about living in this time is that it never stops, okay? until we're in the ground. It'll never stop. Well, no, what do I mean? I mean that it doesn't matter how many times you tell them the truth or you point them in the direction of truth. They'll just, it's like hitting your head it's like hitting your head with a hammer trying to cure a headache. Right? And those of us in the rooms will understand that analogy, but that's what it is. Trying to explain the truth to the Republicans is like, we might as well be hitting ourselves in the head with a hammer, hoping that it's going to cure our headache. They don't want to participate. Giving them the answer or telling them the truth. The truth has a liberal bias. They can't handle the truth. They don't like the truth. They'll just keep harping on the lie. And it will never stop. And so today, when the con man was once again found guilty of being a rapist, well, he was found guilty of what do they call it? It's not technically disparaging or defaming her. Is that it? Defaming E Jean Carroll and all of the harm that did. This is who. I hate Trump with the heat of 1,000 blazing suns, like all normal people do. But there's so many reasons. Let me count the ways. One of which is the fact that he's a kiss up, kick down coward. He will never pick on somebody who can fight back. He's a little coward. He's a little bitch. He's a whiny little bitch. Everything's so unfair to him. But he always attacks the politically unconnected, the vulnerable, people who can. And that's, in fact, why E Jean Carroll, at the time when Trump raped her, that's why she didn't go after him. That's why she didn't go to the police about it. She went and talked to her friends about it. At the time, contemporaneous outcry. That's what they call it. And this is part of the reason he was judged and found to be guilty of sexual assault. And technically they couldn't label him or say it was rape because she couldn't tell if it was his hand or his penis or his finger. What's the difference, right? But a judge clarified that, there's nothing Trump could do. We can call him a rapist because he is a rapist. But for all intents and purposes, or whatever they say, he's a rapist. And he is. We know he's done this. It's not just the first time. E Jean Carroll was just one woman that he assaulted. And I told you stories about my friend's friend. Of course, that's just, anecdotal. But I don't know this person. My friend knew somebody that hung out with them, and Trump attacked her when they were alone in a room. All of a sudden, she was just standing there, and he just pounced. That's what he does, He's automatically attracted to beauty. That's what he says, even though he's the ugliest parasite going. he doesn't wait. He just kisses and kiss, right? It's like a magnet. That's what he said. He just does it. He just jumps on people and they grab him by the pussy, because that's what all women want. They just want some big effing orange turd to just assault them, to jump on them and grab them. All right. And that's, it's like, it's very arousing, according to no one. But that's what it is. And we've discussed this before. That's why, for example, could you imagine if Barack Obama said something anywhere remotely, anything that remotely said or implied that he was sexually attracted to his daughter? Could you imagine? Or Joe Biden? They have this. They keep calling Joe Biden a pedophile, of course, because that's all they. Because it's I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever whatever you say to me bounces off of me and sticks to you. That's the Republican way. But they say, because they took this diary and there's some passage in there that we don't know. Everything that they say is a lie. There's a passage that they take. And we don't even know where this diary came from. They're so full of shit. It's like the the Elders of Zion thing that it's this fabrication that they pass around as proof that there's a secret Jewish cabal running Earth. It's the same thing with the Republicans. They pass around this Ashley Biden's diary, and they call Joe Biden a pedophile because of something in it. And it's all bullshit, of course. But the fact is, Joe Biden is not the one going around saying he wants to bang his daughter. And that's Trump. Because here's the thing, and let me explain it. It's because that's the greatest compliment he could give you, or give a woman, is that if he wants to bang a woman. Right, that you should be thankful for that. So even if it's his daughter, see, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. That's the greatest compliment in his mind, because he is a malignant narcissist. And if he wants to bang you, that must mean, that's all that matters, because he's nothing. He's a nothing. He's like the gaping black hole of need and greed that just sucks everything in. That's what he is. And it will never be enough. He sucks the life, the decency, the dignity, and now he's sucking the democracy out of anything he gets anywhere near. So, how did I get on that topic? But it doesn't matter. This is Tarabuster, unapologetic liberal talk. So anyway, Alina Habba. So here's the thing. So he was found to, he has to pay E Jean Carroll 80-something million. I wish it was more, personally, but they're saying it's a pretty hefty fine for being a piece of dirt that can't shut his filthy lie hole. And imagine that you are raped by this parasite, and then he defames you. Then you watch. It's sort of like the Justice I Like Beer bullshit, right? And how what's her name? Now her name escapes me. Kavanaugh, and who's the woman? Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I will find it. Because it wasn't just one woman. Somebody on the chat will tell me. Oh yeah, Christine Blasey Ford. So it's like Christine Blasey Ford, how she came forward to tell her story to the members of Congress, because when she saw that what was happening was she saw that Justice I Like Beer was in the running to be a freaking lifetime appointed Supreme Court piece of dirt. Right? So she came forward. And the same thing with E Jean Carroll. Imagine, this dirtbag raped you. And then you watch this piece of shit squat in the White House despite receiving fewer votes. So she came forward eventually, and it was too late to do anything criminally, but he was found to have, be liable for her, for raping her. If it were a criminal charge, if this were back in the day, I don't know. Who knows? Given the state of things, it was pre-Me Too, that's for sure. But who knows? He might have been. We might have dodged a bullet if she had come forward. But the fact is, she didn't want to have her entire life turned upside down by this so-called billionaire or whatever he was at the time. He's not a billionaire. He might be now. He's just a, he's always been a con man. If you're a billionaire, you don't have to pay porn stars in installments, right? If you're a billionaire, you don't have to send your fixer to give the porn star hush money in installments, right? Think about it, okay? But so she knows at the time. She said it wasn't worth it. She just dealt with it. She dealt with the trauma of the rape that she endured, and knew, because he was a powerful, rich piece of dirt, that he would ruin her life if she was already suffering from the post-traumatic stress of being raped by him. But and imagine then time goes on and you watch this dirt bag come down an escalator and talk about how Mexicans are rapists, and some of them are good people. Yeah, everything's a confession or a projection, of course. And eventually, this woman is 80 years old. God bless her. And by God, I mean, I don't know, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, something. I don't know. Not a man on a cloud, but you know what I mean. And what do you got to lose? This is a dirtbag. He needs to be held to account. But he was already held to account in the prior trial. This trial is about the fact that he won't shut his tedious lie hole. And it's not a do-over of the rape trial. It's not, round two. There's no double jeopardy if you lose. And, you just don't like the outcome. So you just keep going and having trials until you get the outcome you want. I mean, that's how he plays golf. He'll just pick up the ball, and it's well known that he cheats in everything he does. He cheats in golf, and then he stands there and waits for all his sycophants to tell him what an amazing golfer he is. And you know that. We even heard who was that one? Uncle Tim Scott was saying that he called him like a pro-level golfer. He's a cheater. Are these people, do they have any dignity? I can't take it. Okay, so Alina Habba, who, I don't know if she hasn't figured it out by now that she's not getting paid. I guess maybe not, but she's really, I hope maybe she's hoping she'll get a stint on Fox News as a pundit or Breitbart, maybe. You couldn't believe. I mean, I was looking at Twitter earlier, and she was on there talking about how important it is. She was on some right wing shithole, talking about how important it is to tell the truth. Oh, these fucking people, right? They no shame in their game, though. If they had shame, they wouldn't be Republicans. So that's what we're dealing with. So here she is. Here's Alina Habba coming out of court and addressing the press after she lost. And of course they turned the courtroom into a shit show, and they played their antics and their victim game, and Trump he got up and stormed out in the middle of what? I mean, it's like, fuck him. What the fuck? He has no respect for this country. That's why people, fought, bled, and for this country. They wore the uniform of this country, so we would have a system of laws, a nation of laws that applied to everyone equally. That's the American way. That's the American exceptionalism. But that's too much for these traitors. So here's Alina Habba coming at. Well, hold on. Damn it. Damn you, Ecam. It's very confusing sometimes, Ecam.
Trump's attorney at the mics right now.
It's about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could.
He's not the president. I'm sorry to scream. He's not the president. But she has to say it like that. In fact, she was angry at one. I mean, they were always angry. But she said to, there's so many players in this game. I'm mixing up their names. The New York AG, she said to, she was very angry when the New York AG wasn't calling him the traitor, Mr. President or President Trump. She calls him Mr. Trump. To call him Mr. She should just call him Trump. Call him scum. When I say scum, you know what I'm talking about. He doesn't need any other form of nomenclature, does he? When I say con man, who do you think I'm talking about? I don't need to explain. I'm saying, con man, that means Trump. You guys know it. Everybody knows it. Even the friggin' parasite, the Trumpanzees that come to this channel and call me whatever, somebody came to the channel and said something about, they were all racist. That's really it. And I found that it was a little interesting. He said something about how black people, you'll see what black people will do to you, because I was saying something about racist Republicans, and I guess because, I don't know, he's trying to, I said, what's your point? I don't understand what you mean. But it is kind of a glimpse into their mind. So it's like, anyway, whatever. I don't want to get off on that tangent. But here's the thing about the Trumpanzee female. They all have to emote this level of anger. And I noticed this today. It just, not that I noticed the anger. It's incessant with them. But they all share it. Alina Habba, Perjury Trader Green, Lauren Band from the bowling alley, Elise Stefanik, all of them, the way that they address when they're being asked a question, whether it be on the corporate media or if they're on their own propaganda channels, they have to sound angry in the same way. They're just so pissed off at this constitutionally limited democratic republic. They're so pissed off that laws might apply to the con man like they apply to you and me. But there she is. She's got it down. But it does seem kind of forced, right? It does. She seems like she's acting. She might want to go take an acting class and learn how to, I don't know what, there's different techniques in acting. Maybe there's some actors on the chat can give her some pointers, emoting or whatever school of acting she needs to go to. Was she a method actor or, because it doesn't ring true to me when I see her get this indignant this indignant persona. Poor traitor Trump, because she knows it's bullshit like everything else. They know it's bullshit. They know that he's a con man with a fake university who received fewer votes. They know he raped E Jean Carroll. They know it. And shame on her. Shame on the rest of them. Shame on all of them. Because they know better. So maybe the anger, maybe there's, if you want to psychoanalyze, they're angry at themselves somewhere in there.
Or do. What I am having second thoughts about is the license that I stand here with that the people in there are supposed to have.
Hello?
I have not spoken
Lock
because
her
I
up.
respect my ethics.
She's got ethics, everybody. Ethics. And in fact, today in court, the judge was schooling her all throughout the trial. She is a very bad lawyer, according to all reports from actual lawyers. And he would, the judge would say things like, well, let's take a break so Miss Haba can look up how to enter a piece of evidence into this court or whatever, however you put it. But she didn't know what she was doing. She looked like a fool. You get what you pay for. And he's, she's not getting nothing. When is she going to figure it out that she's not getting paid? So maybe that's why she's angry. Yeah, that's true. So, and there she goes, disparaging the court and the process and the jury, which, think about this. The jury and the judge had to instruct the jury to take special care not to use their own names to each other and to not speak to anybody outside, to not tell anybody that they're doing this case, and that if they were going to remain in contact, if they, made a friend or something with somebody on the jury, that they're taking their safety into their own hands if they give people their actual names. Think about that. Think about what these filthy fascists have done to this country. That the so-called president, the 91 times indicted so-called president, the convicted rapist, has so poisoned this country that our fellow Americans can't do their civic duty and sit on a jury. It's part of being one of the responsibilities of being a citizen, that they so love this country, right? They want to catapult immigrants over the wall. The last show we were playing clips of these Jesus so-called, Christians talking about catapulting other human beings over a wall. And yeah, so they love the country so much. They want to catapult people. And that our fellow Americans have to fear for their own lives because of these violent pricks, these fascists, these traitors. Traitors. That's what they are. They're traitors. Traitors support traitor Trump. They're all traitors. Alina Habba, you're a traitor. You're a joke. And history will not be kind to them. You'll see. Hold on. Well, here, let's continue.
On trial. But let me now speak about what has happened. I have sat
in this
on
fake,
trial
indignant
after trial
voice
for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James, and now this.
Oh my goodness. Can you actually, if I were directing this scene, you really need to sell it. Think about a time you were actually angry and put yourself there. There seems to be some kind of disconnect between the mouth and the emotions. I hear the angry words, but I don't feel the anger, Alina. In fact, when they make the movie, the person who plays her in the movie is going to have to nail that down. She'll have to sound fake angry, too.
Weeks. Why? Because
Weeks.
President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York.
You get it
So don't get
all
it
in
twisted.
New York.
Whoever asked me that
they have
question,
everything.
I am so proud
It's the
to
city
stand
that never sleeps. I'm so proud to not be paid by the con man. I'm so proud to join the countless members of the human race who've been stiffed by this con man. I'm so proud. Can you hear the anger? In this New York, you can make it there, they said, but now we've been picked on, and my God, when will it end for my poor victimized client who received fewer votes?
President Trump. But I am not proud to stand with what I saw in that courtroom.
Yeah, she apparently, well, he looked, he walked out, the asshole walked out, and she actually, apparently she cursed in the courtroom. This is what they do. This is what Republicans do. They disgrace everything. They lower everything. They drag everything down to their level. It's so true. Everything that they touch, they sour, they sully, they stain with their inability to function. I mean, look at the smirk on her face too, as she's fake anger. You know, she's emoting this fake anger. People, and this is why I say, you know, even these reporters standing there, they have to pretend to take her seriously. This entire scene should be accompanied by a laugh track. That's it.
I'm not finished. Let me just finish and I'll take questions, please. Before I walked
I'm
into
not
court,
finished with my scene. I've practiced it in front of the mirror all night.
that judge decided that every single defense President Trump had,
you
we were not
bitch.
allowed to raise in front of the jury. It is
Listen, bitch. I know you're thick as a brick in the brain, but you can't try the case again and again. He's already been convicted. He's been adjudicated a rapist. That's what she's talking about. The judge took away my defense. This isn't like trial junior, rape trial junior for you fucking grifters. Let's keep having trials until it's done. This is why it's so until they get the outcome they want. All right? This is why it's so tedious to have to share the same air with these people. He's guilty. They took away all my there's no defense. Did he harass her? Did he disparage her? Did he continue to violate the law or whatever I don't know, what do they call it? The judgment that he was under, that he was bound to from the last trial. So it's not about, you don't get to have a defense. Your defense is, no, he didn't, disparage her, for Christ's sakes. It's not, he didn't rape her, because she kept trying to do that. Kept trying to bring in the other trial, and the judge kept saying, this isn't the second trial. That's already been decided. Another jury of our fellow Americans heard all the evidence. They heard your stupid fake anger. They heard it all. They heard the truth. They heard E Jean Carroll. They heard the friends who went up there and said, yes, she told us at the time that he raped her. He followed her around. They ran into each other outside, and she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm buying a present. And he's like, well, can you help me? I need to pick something out for my wife. And next thing you knew, they were chatting, nicely or whatever. And he pushed her into the friggin' dressing room and started attacking her. Well, as he does. He's a scumbag.
in writing, and I encourage the journalists, the real journalists, to take the minute
Yeah,
to look
the
at his
real
orders.
ones, not the Democrat ones, right? Not the New York ones. Which ones? Which ones you want, bitch? Which ones are good? Not the New York liberals, the Massachusetts liberals. I hate these people. I hate them, legally and peacefully. And thank you, Mark C., for your super chat. Oh, yeah, justice is coming. It's coming. You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's going to be good. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be a long time coming. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day. 24/7. And I like it. I like it. I like justice. Justice is coming. But he'll never learn. That's the thing. That's why I wish they had hit him with $200,000, $300,000. According to the con man's own venom that comes out of his mouth, he had, well, so he said, he has $400-something thousand, not 400,000, 400 million in cash. You know, he can readily bullshit. Maybe. I mean, after the presidency, now that I'm saying that, because he did turn the presidency into his own personal piggy bank, as we know, taking bribes and whatnot. And so, yeah, and the Democrats did the investigation, and they have the receipts that Republicans refuse to look at because they hate America. But anyway, so, you know, I wish it was more than 83,000, but they're saying, you know, this is a pretty hefty fine for the con man. And this judge is not like that other judge in the other trial. I mean, how many damn trials? Where he's more of a softie, the other judge. So he's going to pay. So this judge is going to make the con man pay. And there are ways to make him pay. So he can't wiggle out of it. That's what he does. Delay, and wiggle out of it while crying like a little bitch. Why don't you just shut your bitch mouth, Trump? He can't, though. Because he has to pretend that he's the victim when he's the victimizer. He might. I have to wonder. Does he believe his own bullshit after a while? Maybe he does, because he's that twisted. He's disgusting. He's very fucked up, guys. There's something wrong with him, and it's getting worse. So, and he's not long for the world. We know that, even though I'm not saying legally and peacefully, of course, but his mother lived to be 99, which isn't, which is kind of a disappointing news. I don't know. But his father didn't have a lot of longevity, but when I think about the mother, I'm like, oh boy, 99? I can't handle it. But he's already losing his marbles, as we know. Yeah, it doesn't matter, though, because Republicans will just prop him up. Like, they talk about Joe Biden. Oh, he's not there. He's just bumbling. And of course, they selectively edit videos to make it look like that. Joe Biden is doing, and in fact, he's fighting back finally, which is pretty good. And I'm there for that too, calling Trump a loser and pointing out, that he's the former president and he's a loser, and that's what he should do all the time. And he's doing it. It's a deliberate strategy, which is good. I'm glad. That's what you got to do. He's a loser. He's even worse than a loser. He's not a man. He's not man enough to respect the peaceful transfer of power. It was good enough for George Washington, but not for this piece of dirt. Not for that con man. All right? He is the worst most, and in fact, well, today I was thinking, I was going to say he's the worst thing that ever happened to this country, but then it's sort of like, maybe when we're through the other side of this, we might look back and say, well, thank God that's over, and we survived as a country. Our constitutionally limited democratic republic survived. And it was good that it pointed out, kind of where we have to shore up the cracks. Because he certainly has exploited all of the cracks in this country. And I mean, when I'm talking cracks, I'm talking about Trumpanzees too. I mean, they're the crackpots. And so we have work to do, a lot of work to fix this, so another con man can't easily slither into the into power and corrupt a corruptible excuse for a party. But yeah, I have the answers. Take money out of politics. That's one of them. Watch Trump, he would have found a different grift, that's for sure. He would have stuck to NFTs and non-FDA approved vitamin scams.
There was no proof. And I couldn't prove that she didn't bring in the dress. There was no DNA.
You dumb bitch. This ain't that trial. This is not that trial, you tedious bitch, right? Isn't it tedious? There's no DNA. There's no, everybody's picking on us. Look at her face.
There's no expert. My experts were denied.
Yes, bitch, because that's not this trial, dummy. That's not this trial. Are you dense or are you stupid? Are you a dummy or are you... tell me this is an act. Please. I hope so, for your sake, because that means you're goddamn dense. Like they all are. This is why it's so... it's so tedious. It's so irritating to share the same air with these people. To share this blip of time with people that it doesn't matter how much we educate them or inform them or give them the receipts. They don't want to hear it. That's why I have said it forever. I'm not here to convince Trumpanzees. I'm not here to convert people or have a rational conversation with them. They don't want a rational conversation. They are irredeemable. They don't want to be, they know it all. They don't want to be changed. And you're wasting your air. You're wasting your limited, precious lifetime trying to convert somebody or get them to see the light. That's why we have to just continue to move on without them. They are the minority. They are they're not in the majority, no matter what they say. I know for years I've heard this country is a center-right country. It's not a center-right country. It's never been center-right. Even the Trumpanzees don't want a center-right country. They want their Medicare. They want their Social Security. They just want more of it. They have problems with it. They're not trying to take it away. That's why the goddamn fake-ass Republicans, these Trump goes out there. He's like, oh, your Social Security. Oh, I'm going to protect it. While they're behind the scenes trying to cut it, trying to privatize it. And then they go out there, and Trump goes out there and says, I'm going to get everybody health care, and it's going to be great. It's going to be free, and everybody's going to be covered. That sounds great to me. That sounds like universal health care. Of course it is. They want these things. That's why they want their pre-existing conditions protections that they all fought so hard against. when we had to deal with them back when we were trying to pass Obamacare. That was another time we all had to waste our fucking air, waste our time going to town halls when these idiots would stand up screaming and screaming about socialism and communism and any ism that they were being told to scream about. Get your government hand off my Medicaid or my Medicare. Get it off. They actually, I was there. I told you guys. I went to Washington with Mike Malloy at the time when the Supreme Court was arguing they were presenting it because the Republicans were trying to fuck it up, as they always do. And they fucked it up, by the way. But they weren't able to completely eliminate it. But they certainly made it worse. They took away the mandate. Then Marco Rubio went in there and he made it expensive by taking away these risk corridors that the government was paying for. So it's more expensive for everybody because they want to make it suck, just like they want to make the IRS suck. So when you call the IRS and you have a question, that you're on hold all day. You have to make a whole goddamn day affair out of it. And because they want people to be mad at the government. Government doesn't work. It sucks. Let's get rid of it. Let's give it to the billionaires. Let's privatize everything. So because that's the way, it doesn't matter. Nothing is worth doing unless a billionaire can make a buck or for backs. But the entire time these idiots were screaming, screaming about get your government hands off my Medicare. And I spoke to that lady. I told you I was down there there was that famous picture of that lady with the big Mickey Mouse hand that said get your government hands off my Medicaid. And I talked to that woman and I was like, what the hell, lady? And she's like, no, I always remember she was saying, we're not saying that people shouldn't get health care. That's what she was saying. That we're not saying that. If you need health care, and this is what she was saying, everyone should go to the emergency room. And I said, that's the problem. That's why we have the most expensive and less effective health care in the entire goddamn Western world. It's so sickening. But anyway, so now that we have pre-existing conditions, protections, they're like babies, they want what they want. They're like Goldilocks too. Its government is just right in the way it serves them, or they think it serves them alone. But the real problem is that they don't want to share with brown people. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And that's what I mean. That's the crack that they get in. Hold on. Be back. Be best. Oh, and that, speaking of be best, so today, Biden, this is good. As I was saying, that Biden is calling the con man a loser. They're doing it deliberately. They must have done some kind of psychological workup of him. And as they do, as Putin has done, as every single one of America's enemies have done, as Kim Jong-un did, right? These scumbags, to exploit the con man. And so that's why Joe Biden has increased the loser, the rhetoric calling the con man a loser. Wait a minute. So on CNN, they were talking about it.
President Biden is employing a familiar tactic, though one that's relatively
might be too
new
low.
for him. He's hoping to throw off Donald Trump right off his campaign message by taking jabs at his likely Republican opponent. Recently, Biden has been mocking Trump, calling him things like loser, and emphasizing the former in former president. A person close to Trump actually says
this is something that Joe Biden actually tweeted out, and you see what he wrote? What? Be best. Yes. Yes. I'm here for it. And that's why Be Best and Dark Brandon is trending. Yeah. And the Republicans, they hate that. They're like, oh, that Dark Brandon meme. It's so, it just hasn't taken off. Bullshit. It's effective. And people like it. I like the Dark Brandon. You know, we've turned it around. Oh, let's go, Brandon. Like, that's so funny, right? To be F Joe Biden. And why? And what? You have anything that didn't come from the schoolyard of a 11-year-old? Right? They have nothing to offer. This is what they think is clever. Let's go, Brandon. What do you got? What do you got in as an alternate? What are your ideas? They have no ideas. Their ideas are make the rich richer, but they can't say that. So their ideas are divide and conquer. Tell these idiots, that they're going to get killed by caravans coming over the border. Tell them the big problem. You notice they're talking about immigration at the southern border. The problems at the southern border is supposedly their top of mind, but they don't want to do anything about it, as we know, because they got the message from their traitor Trump, the rapist, telling them don't do anything about immigration. So they would much rather, posture about it. Go down there and take pictures of them pointing and put out razor wire and try to hurt people and stand on the shore while a mother and 3 children drown and say things like, I would shoot them, but the Biden administration would prosecute me for murder because it is murder, right? They don't want to do anything about it. And what as far as the as immigration, it's just it's how they trick people or get these inherently racist dupes to vote for their own demise. These are the dupes. And what they tell them is these people are coming in and they get everything. They get health care. They get education. They get housing. Not me, though. See, they want it. They want they want socialism. You see the problem there? They want the benefits of civilization. They just don't want to share. But the fact is, immigrants, they're not getting that. But if they are getting processed and helped, then good. Isn't that what we want? But no, they don't want that. They don't want any money being spent on any asylum seekers because they want it. That's what they're saying. We don't have enough for us. But we do have enough for us. But you idiots keep voting for your own demise and dragging us all down with you. You keep voting against your own better interests because these idiots, these lick spittles of a con man are telling you that you can't have universal health care because an immigrant is getting it and you can't. It's so sick. These people are sick. And I have more receipts to prove it. In fact, here's Romney, Mitt Romney, who was once the Republican standard bearer, if you remember, talking about how sick it is for Trump and the Republicans to kill this deal that the Democrats and some Republicans negotiated on the about the border, to fix the border through legislation. But they don't want that. They don't want legislation. They want to have blood. They want a bloodbath. They want to act tough. and take pictures of it. And so they can go out and say, oh, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to put razor wire in the water. And I'm going to send the National Guard. And I want a civil war. Well, we don't need a civil war, you fucking idiots. Just do your job. Do your damn job. But they don't want to. They don't want to give Joe Biden a win. See how much they hate this country? They're so full of shit.
It was hard for me to see what Leader McConnell was suggesting. He seemed to be of two minds in the conversation. But reading the reports this morning and the fact that he hasn't corrected them suggests that he is inclined to listen to what former President Trump wants. And former President Trump has indicated to senators that he does not want us to solve the problem at the border. He wants to lay the blame for the border at Biden.
Traitor.
And the idea that someone running for president would say, please hurt the country so I can blame my opponent and help my politics is a shocking development.
Do you think this is what he wants?
Republicans have been doing that for years.
This is what he's doing.
I think the border is a very important issue for Donald Trump. And the fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and congresspeople that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling.
So what does that say that what he is saying carries weight here? What does it say that Republicans are listening to?
Well, shocking that politics plays a role in this building. Absolutely shocking.
Is that politics or is that
is on the line?
But the reality
just
is
disgusting.
That we have a crisis at the border. The American people are suffering as a result of what's happening at the border, and someone running for president.
I wish he would clarify that. How are we suffering? Maybe some people who are dealing with this are suffering at the border because they're overworked. But that deal that Biden negotiated with the Republicans has money for more border agents and more border agents, more judges to put the people, hear the asylum cases, and more money for administration and to process the people coming over. And they just don't want to do it. Everything that they asked for, that's the thing. This is everything that the Republicans have been screaming about. So what are you going to say, right? All it says is that it's a show. It's a pantomime. They're putting on a show for their dupes and trying to buy time until they can get their con man in office. And then watch. If the con man, God forbid, let's just go there for a second. He's not going to win. If we are organized and vote, he's not going to win. And the only way he would win is if they cheat, right? Gerrymander, voters suppress, and people just stay home. But he will not win. But imagine if the con man squatted in the White House despite receiving fewer votes again, you will hear, how much do you think we're going to hear about the border at that time? How much? Do you think it'll suddenly get silent again? This is what happens. This is what they do. They scream and cry about the border. Every time a Democrat's in office, they go, open borders, Biden's open borders, Obama's open borders, all the time. And all they do is scream open borders to attract people to come to the border, because I can't talk, the people who have been contemplating leaving the failed states that we helped create, so they say, oh my God, Biden has open borders. That's what they're saying. Let's go. That's what they're saying. That's all I keep hearing. There's never been open borders. But this is how disingenuous and disgusting Republicans are. And as we see, they don't want to take yes for an answer. And back before this deal, there was the Gang of Eight deal that was negotiated when when Barack Obama was in office. And the Republicans rejected that too after. It was a bipartisan deal. So every time there's a deal on the table that Republicans agree with and want, they do nothing. And they want to, this is because they want to politic off it. They want to fear-monger off it.
Try and get the problem solved, as opposed to saying, hey, save that problem. Don't solve it. Let me take credit for solving it later.
So you think Leader McConnell may legitimately be considering?
I don't know where Leader McConnell is on this. The fact, however, that he has been silent, given the reporting that came out last night, suggests that we're just uncertain as to where he is, which is a little unusual.
But is that
normally he lets his point of view.
What does that mean for the future? What does that mean for the future of Ukraine?
Well, clearly, our meeting yesterday, there was overwhelming support for Ukraine. There were a few people who said, hey, let's not provide additional funding, and gave their reasons.
Disgusting.
But the great majority of those who spoke were in favor of supporting Ukraine and felt there was
support
in
Ukraine.
American interest to push back as we can against Russia, to make sure that Russia doesn't keep doing this further, and by the way, going into NATO nations that could draw us into war.
Unbelievable. These traitors like perjury Trader Green.
A strong feeling in that regard, but how this is affected by President Trump weighing in and saying don't solve the problem at the border is a real question.
Well, he's a Putin puppet. That's the other thing. They don't want to give money to Ukraine or keep funding Ukraine because of Trump is a traitor. Everybody realize that? He's a traitor. Why else would he take classified documents when he was out of the Oval Office, right? He was voted out, and he deliberately took classified documents to his Maramoron Roach Motel, and then he took them with him on his tacky plane from Florida to New Jersey when he was negotiating a Gulf deal with the Saudis. Why would he need to bring classified documents with him? And this was all in the report. Why? Maybe he was throwing them in to sweeten the pot? Because he's a fucking traitor. Why else would, and we've talked about it on the show before, when the Republicans are like, I want to see the server. Where's the server? Where's this? They go on about Hillary Clinton. Hillary for prison. Really? For what? Kenneth Starr spent $25 million investigating Hillary Clinton. They still, if they had anything on her, they would have locked her up. She sat in front of Congress taking questions under oath from these clowns for 11 hours. Trump can't even sit in his own goddamn defamation trial for 5 minutes. Because he's a little whiny bitch. No offense to bitches. I know some bitches, and they're good people. Trump is a traitor. Some bitches are not traitors. He's a traitor. But, what do you think? For example, when, what about the server? What about the server? I want to see the server. Why don't the Democrats say, what about the transcript? Where's the transcript? I want to see the transcript that Trump confiscated from his secret meeting with Putin in Helsinki. We all remember how he went out and embarrassed the country by being Putin's bitch on the international stage and backing Putin and doubting his own and the American intelligence agencies that said Putin had interfered in the election, and he continues to. They continue to. Of course they do. That's what Elon Musk is letting them. There's no boundary. You don't know what you're talking to. Sometimes you go on Twitter and the social media sites, you're talking to bots half the time. Russian bots. That's what they do. They're on there to spread the misinformation. And these idiots fall for it. So He met with Putin secretly, and he confiscated the transcript. There was no American translator there. There was only the Russian translator who was taking notes because he didn't invite any Americans in there, any of our people. There was nobody there but him and Putin and this translator, this Russian translator. What the hell were they talking about? Were they talking about making the world safe for democracy? What were they talking about? Mom and apple pie? Where's the transcript? I want to see the transcript, right? I mean, there's so many things like this. He's a traitor. Of course he is. If it gets in the way of feeding that empty, that bottomless black hole of greed and need that he has, then it's in the way. And he uses America like a pimp uses a streetwalker. Get out there, bitch, and make me some money. And he dresses her up in the flag. Go on out there. And then he humps it in front of these idiots. It's all a grift. It's a goddamn grift because they don't know the substance of patriotism. That's too woke. Are you kidding me? Sharing a constitutionally limited democratic republic, a diverse nation of immigrants, a modern nation birthed in the liberal age of enlightenment? Forget it. Enlightenment? Liberal? What? Even though we got to listen to Nikki Haley. The intent. They were slaves, and then they were like, we're going to fix it. We were talking about that on the last show. But I refuse to believe any differently. I refuse. I'm sorry, I have to play a little bit for the people who missed it.
Say, no, I don't live in a country that was formed on racism. I live in a country where they wanted all people to be equal.
They
and to
wanted
make sure that they
all,
had
except
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
They wanted all people to be equal, except they wrote that, people were slaves. Whatever. Who cares? It's the intent. And forget about women.
Just to push back a bit, because I was a history major in New Hampshire. You're talking about the ideals of America. But America was founded institutionally on many racist precepts, including slavery.
But when you look, it said all men are created equal.
It said it.
I think
it said all men.
The intent.
The intent
was to do the right thing.
I have no scholarship on this, but the intent. Yes, except their wives and their slaves. Right, haiku. But the intent... I'm joking. The intent was there. They had the intent to keep white men in the catbird seat of power. That's the way it was. That's nature. In the founding documents, they talk about nature's God, and that nature's God made white men rule. So, what do you want? But the intent. They said, now we're going to fix it. It's so babyish. That's why I can't take these people. They're babies. It's like never-ending baby. It's like the never-ending kindergarten class with these people. Look at the stars. Look at the eagles. Look, we see. But America, we got eagles and stars. And that means we got eagles, and they fly, and then they got stars. Right? That means we are great. It's the greatest country that ever lived. Ever. No other country had eagles and stars. That's the intent. They made the eagle. Forget about health care. Forget about living wages, retirement security, education. The intent was eagles and stars. Right? and humping a flag. This is where it's come to. It's gotten down to the Republican standard bearer literally humping a flag, which is so offensive. You know what's offensive about? It's not that he's humping a flag. It's just that it's the personification of his understanding that he's dealing with a bunch of idiots. Okay? That's why it offends me. That's all it takes is going out there and hugging a flag. What about healthcare? No. Oh, it's going to be great. It's everybody standing. It's the caravan. You can't have healthcare because there's a caravan of immigrants coming to the border. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. But it's real. And I just can't take it anymore. And that's why there's no point to speaking to these people. And because people, they talk about my show. They're like, yeah, why don't you have some Republicans? I'm going to have some Republicans on. I'm not Tom Hartman. He's a little bit more evolved than I am. And he has more patience. I couldn't handle it to have conversation. It's like talking to a brick wall. The only thing we can do is continue to evolve without them. And they will come kicking and screaming, as they always do. And then they'll start saying, we were there all along. Then they'll start positioning themselves as, for example, the champions of universal health care. When we finally get universal health care. Health care is a right of citizenship, not a privilege of wealth. Then how long do you think it'll be until the Republicans position themselves, just shove everything else down the memory hole, but start just saying that they're the champions of universal health care? They always believed in universal health care. Right? Like they always believed in pre-existing condition protection, even though we've had to fight. How many people had to die? Because Republicans, they always believed in it. We've been fighting them my entire life. But then all of a sudden, as soon as it passed, and then the Republicans are like, the average Joe moron that votes for their own demise, they're like, I like my pre-existing conditions protections. Then suddenly it's, don't worry. No one will ever take that away from you. You can count on the Republicans. Oh, yeah, here. Here.
Have to remember this.
It's very low. Why is it so low?
Patients with pre-existing conditions are protected by Republicans much more so than protected by Democrats.
Can you believe that?
Who will never be able to pull it off.
Can you believe the filth and the lies? Patients who have pre-existing conditions are protected by Republicans more than they are protected by Democrats. If it wasn't for Democrats, there wouldn't be any pre-existing conditions protections. I know I had some more clips of Republicans talking about their people's pre-existing conditions protections, but I can't find them. They actually made commercials about it. It's just so they have no shame. They have no shame. And all they do is stand athwart history yelling stop. Right? That's it. So, okay, let's continue. There's a few. So now, because they're calling for civil war, talking about this border thing that they're standing athwart. history yelling stop at. And it's all about the, they want to secede. This is it. This is what we've been dealing with. Since the inception of the country, we've had to deal with these conservatives always going, I'm running away from home. It reminds me of me when I was a child. How old was I? I was little. And I told my parents I was running away from home. And I took all my stuffed animals down the stairs and I wrapped them up in a big sheet and I was going to go. Yeah, and then I started thinking about it. Where am I going? I want, I like dinner and lunch and a roof over my head. But that's what they remind me of. It's like, just go. Why do you have to don't threaten civil war. No one's going to stop you this time. The only bad part is that there are nice, normal people living in these states that keep threatening secession. That's what they're saying about Texas. Texas has to secede because the Supreme Court said they can't put razor wire in the water. Immigration is the providence of the federal government, not the local government. Now, this Republicans are, they're all about small government until something that they want to do, and to, like, for example, shove women into the back alleys and kill them with illegal, unsafe abortions. But they're saying that now is another example of tyranny, the tyranny of the government. But they love the Constitution, don't you know? How they've been, they constantly point to it in their pockets. Their pocket Constitution. Now, I remember talking about healthcare when we were down in D.C. when the Supreme Court was hearing Obamacare. And I was talking to these, they weren't Trumpanzees at the time. They were called teabaggers. And they were waving their friggin' pocket constitutions at me. Like, in there, it doesn't say anything about promoting the general welfare. They just can't get it, It's like the Bible. Picking and choosing in cafeteria style. Whatever they want, it'll fit. They fit the facts around the policy, whatever the policy may be. So now they're all about they're all about civil war. And here's, what's his name? Steve Bannon, who's looking pretty dirty. He's looking pretty disheveled, worse than ever, if that's even possible. Talking to Matt Schlapp about civil war.
First, you're here for CPAC. I understand you're pressed for time. Give me your thoughts on E Jean Carroll defamation suit.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Against President Trump in the border, sir.
Whoops.
Look, this is outrageous.
The defamation.
Once they fully embrace the.
Hold on. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. I'm sorry, guys. That's the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show. Come on over to youtube.com/sleepchannel/Tarabuster to hear the rest of the show. Check out APS Radio News. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Become a member of the Tarabuster channel on YouTube. I think you can. I have to look at that. But we can't do it without you, and we will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you soon. Support the show. Come on, man. Remember Matt? I'm sorry, guys. This always happens on Friday when I have to keep track of the clock. Matt Schlapp is a closet case. Right? Remember him? He was something about grabbing somebody's crotch and texting them of sexy naked photos. Well, I don't know how sexy, but this is who they are. Closet cases. They have issues. They hate themselves. They don't have the courage to simply come out of the closet and embrace who the frig they are. And that's what's so sad about them, too. Because, isn't that sad? That's why, I've always been a liberal. I've always had a heart. And when you think about life, what is the meaning of life? These people are so sad that they have to, because you know what it is, if they do not conform to the conservative worldview of the beatings will continue until morale improves and everyone in their place, the hierarchy of life, and they're so free, but they're not free to be their authentic selves. It's really sad. And if Matt Schlapp came out of the closet, he doesn't have the courage to do it. So there's a lot of closet cases in the Republican Party, because to come out of the closet in general, it takes courage, because you're coming out of the closet in a world of Republicans, let's say. It's getting a little better for gay people to live authentic lives, and the Republicans are not happy about that. So that's why they're attacking gay people again, and they're always using their ancient book of fables as a cudgel, and neglecting everything that their savior that they pretend to worship instructed them to do, to use the Bible to kick down on people, make them feel bad, make them kill themselves, and cut them out, cull them out of the herd, so to speak. And of course, trans people, the way they treat trans people is abhorrent. But this is who they are. One day, I'm telling you, in the future, when the future looks back, when future generations look back at them, they're going to revile the Republicans more than the normal people of Earth do now. Because they're going to be like, what was their damage? It's sort of like how we look back on Hitler, even though we have our own Hitler here that's coming up and we have to deal with. So
woke Marxist fascist nonsense.
See, so let's go back a little. So he's talking about New York. They're talking about the E Jean Carroll defamation trial, and Trump is a rapist. And as not Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't decree that. That was a jury of American citizens, 2 juries now. They got together, saw all the evidence, one jury said Trump is a rapist, and the other jury said, yes, he defamed her. Because and the whole rapist thing has already been decided. So, sit down and shut up, Alina Habba. But they've been using the word fascist a lot, and this is part of the whole fascist scam of devaluing the currency of truth, and that's what they're trying to do. So I know you are, but what am I? Is the tactic. It goes back to the schoolyard, and this is what we're dealing with. It's communist, it's fascist, it's socialism, it's fascism, it's communism, it's just confuse everybody, because they're already confused. They're dealing with people who want government hands off their Medicaid, right? So they're not dealing with the swiftest. And when we call them fascists, when we lay it out and have the receipts and say, you are fascist, your movement, your Trumpanzee movement, that's called fascism. And it's the antithesis of freedom and democracy. And we already defeated it in the last century, and now here we go again. It's 80 years later, and here we go. But yeah, so he's talking about how everything sucks. It's fascism, it's communism, it's socialism. It's
a formerly great state of New York, where both my parents were born and raised.
Formerly great
Once they
until-
fully embrace this woke Marxist fascist nonsense,
The woke fascist Marxist nonsense of making a con man accountable for his crimes.
you're not going to get justice. And this has nothing to do with settling.
First, you're here.
Shit. Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Once a formerly great state of New York, where both
so
my
great.
parents were born and raised,
It's so great
once
when
they
con
fully
men could
embrace
just
this
rape
woke
people.
Marxist fascist nonsense, you're not
Marxist,
going to get
fascist.
justice. And this
Explain.
has nothing to do with settling any kind of grievance.
Yes,
this has
nothing.
to do with
Not at
taking
all.
all the ready cash that Donald Trump might have and taking it away from him so he can't.
No, it's making him shut his hole. Right? That's what you do when you find somebody. You're kind of discouraging them from doing it again. And yes, I see Errol on the chat. George Santos came out of the closet. Yeah, they have a certain number of gays, but notice George Santos is a bigger homophobe than the rest of them, and I have the receipts for that too. In order to be a minority in the Republican Party, they require you to be even more self-loathing than or hateful against your group than the typical Republican male. If you're a woman in the Republican Party, you have to be a bigger misogynist. You have to say that women, are weak, and that white men are being oppressed. This feminazis are coming for them and have their balls in a vice, right? And if you are black in the Republican Party or a person of color, you have to be like, there's no racism. America's not a racist country. There's nothing racist ever happened here. And look at me. I am in the Republican Party. It's it's just right down the line. Just pick a targeted minority group of trans people. Caitlyn Jenner. She'll say that she doesn't believe in gender affirming care. She'll talk about youth getting, transitioning, and which does not happen. There's no confirmation surgery for children. There is gender affirming care, but if you notice, Caitlyn Jenner is against it. This is what you have to hate yourself. You really do. So, and I could find that George Santos clip of him talking about how much you need a man and a woman to raise a child, and gays shouldn't be around children, and it's grooming. He's just a vile con man. They hate themselves. They're fucked up, guys. I mean,
continue to be a candidate for president. And I believe this is a very coordinated thing. Somebody must be coordinating this, because we now know that the White House counsel met with the boyfriend of Fawny down there.
It's being coordinated I think it's being coordinated from the ship behind the Hale-Bopp comet. And in order to stop it, you guys need to, I don't know what. I'm saying legally and peacefully. You might want to look up Heaven's Gate and see if you can follow them to the Hale-Bopp comet somehow. I don't know how they did it. I'm just saying legally and peacefully.
Georgia, the White House counsel's office seems to be a part of much of this. We know that DOJ has been running point for the Hunter Biden defense team and trying to give him sweetheart deals.
How do you know that? How do you know that, Matt Schlapp? You have your fingers on the pulse of what's going on in the DOJ from your closet at CPAC? All those rides you've been taking back and forth from convention center to convention center with young, hot males that you then make moves on, and they're so shocked, and they don't know what to do. They don't want to get you upset. They don't want you to retaliate. How many times? I'm sure, he's been successful at that a few times. He's had to have been. But I'm sure it happens all the time.
All this is about stopping Donald Trump. Now, how is all of that not campaign expenditures? This is like the Russian collusion dossier, which was a Hillary Clinton DNC deal. They are explicitly using their power in a corrupt way. They're using our taxpayer money in a corrupt way to try to stop Trump in every conceivable way. And I'll just tell you, if you're listening to this and you're worth something south of $83 million, like all of us, almost all of us, this means that this weaponized government doesn't just
what
intend
else?
to
What are the other trigger words? It's like bingo. It's like Republican bingo. Thank you, Charlie, for your super chat. Your first super chat, they say on the super chat. Thank you so much, Charlie. Thank you for being here. I hope you've enjoyed our gathering on Friday nights. This is what we do. We come together on Friday nights and we go through what's going on and we have fun.
destroy your career and cancel you on social media. They mean to impoverish you.
We need a bingo card for this, right? Cancel, weaponization, right? Fascism, socialism, communism. But it has to be all of the three.
And destroy any opportunity you have in the future. This is a make it or break time for the United States of America. If these things continue to stand, all of this unconstitutional legal activity, we got nothing left, Steve. I mean, it's run to the mountains, run to the catacombs time.
Run to the catacombs.
So this is a huge moment for us to stand up.
And that's what CPAC, I talked about CPAC. You got a bunch of announcements to make, but this is end of the Republic stuff that's happening right here. CPAC couldn't be more timely.
Maybe you should go.
It's in about 30 days, so tell us what's going to go on.
Yeah, I think the first thing is we got to start highlighting the heroes who stand up to the abuses, the people that say, I'm getting sued or I'm being prosecuted, I'm going to stand up. People like Brandon Struck at the Walkaway movement, what Julie Kelly has done chronicling all the abuses on J6,
I don't know
and
who
now
they're
she's
talking
kind of
about. Oh, the J6, some J6 traitor.
Focusing like a laser on all the abuses about Donald Trump, the parents, the teachers who've been fired or who've been cut out of the process, all this gender confusion idiocy.
See, this whole thing is like it's like a Mad Libs. Gender confusion. If not, who's confused? He might be confused. It's by being a closet case that might make you see. You have to be hateful against the gay and LGBTQ plus community.
We're going to have the experts there on the ground who are pushing back, but also
pushing back. What else? Well, he's like they got it all: gender confusion, gender affirming care, woke, communism, socialism, fascism, weaponization.
I'm going to stand up. People like Brandon Struck at the Walkaway movement, what Julie Kelly has done chronicling all the abuses on J6, and now she's kind of focusing like a laser on all the abuses.
The abuses, is that when when these traitors crushed the cops in the door and beat them with their own shields and whatnot, and cattle prodded them and beat them and constructed a gallows? Remember that? That was fun. Like nobody's ever seen.
About Donald Trump.
Oh, they also defecated in the halls. That's the other thing when they start talking about how they're so put upon, these hostages, these J6 hostages. And they need to ask, well, who's going to commemorate the ones who defecated in the halls of the Capitol? And you know that's what happened. You know it because you know what they did. They trashed the place, and some of them, because there were many of them storming the Capitol trying to stop the peaceful transfer of power. Some of them actually had to take a dump when they did that, and when they got in there, they saw that, oh shit, either the bathrooms were locked or they were already trashed. and they used everything, clogged up the toilets. You know that is what happened. And they defecated and urinated in the halls. That is the report. And they did it, and they thought, this is what they do. They're patriots. How many bad decisions do you have to make in your life until you're defecating in the halls of the Capitol? How much? Wouldn't that be like a wake-up call? Like an alcoholic hitting bottom? Where you wake up and you say, maybe I'm making the wrong choices here. My life has become unmanageable. Can I get a sponsor?
The teachers who've been fired or who've been cut out of the process, all this gender confusion idiocy. We're going to have the experts there on the ground who are pushing back, but also they're going to tell their stories. And I think that's awfully important. I think the other thing about CPAC, Steve, is that Trump doesn't win, this country might be a spent bullet. I hate saying that because I love my country.
Bullet.
So
go away then.
We haven't announced Donald Trump yet.
Oh, hang on. Whoa. Give me that again, because you're not normally a hair on fire guy. Repeat that for me.
I think I worry that if Donald Trump's not elected president, I really do think the America that we know is done. Why do I say that? It's not like one man should be able to change history.
Pretty please. Can it be done already? Can we be done with these fools and traitors? The America that we know? Can we be done with this shit already? Isn't it time to leave them in history's trash bin where they're comfortable? It's not just where they belong, where they're comfy. They don't want to be in a modern society. They hate that. That's too woke. They don't want a country where people can read books and be themselves and go to college and study things and then go to work where you can work in decent working conditions. They just want some rich son of a bitch to step on their necks. They want them to step on our necks, excuse me, and us to have no remedy to do anything about it. If the rich can't get richer, that's they hope to be in the halls of power with these people, smoking cigars and drinking wine, and while they're deciding what to do about us, and we have no power. Like the system the founders overthrew with the intergenerational aristocracy and monarchy, and when, like what Nick Fuentes talked about, that there'll be only one more election and that's it. We get Trump in power and that's the end of elections. And that's what he says outright. And we've talked about this before, when the con man had dinner with Nick Fuentes, the corporate media were outraged, right, as usual, and said, it's terrible. He had dinner with an anti-Semite. The con man, they call him the former president. Sometimes they even call him president, which makes me want to puke. But he's, if in the very least, he's the former president. He's a con man. That's what everybody should know him by. But anyway, he's a parasite. But the corporate media said how Trump had dinner with an anti-Semite, but that was just only one aspect, only one repugnant aspect of Nick Fuentes. What was even more alarming to me was that, because the anti-Semitism goes hand in hand with the fascism, and what was more alarming to me was that he was having dinner with somebody who wants to end democracy. And Perjury Trader Green, for example, was also gave speeches at his friggin' events and whatnot. And then she claimed not to know who the hell he is. This is an anti-democratic cult, small d democratic cult. The enemies from within. That anyone who ever took an oath to, like I did, like many of us on the chat, we took an oath to the Constitution to protect and defend the Constitution from these traitors, these domestic traitors, these enemies from within. So that's what they're doing. That's what they're up against. I mean, that's what we're up against. And Steve Bannon is a fascist. He's another one who goes all over the world sowing seeds of fascism in other countries. Getting, like when FDR, when he was the governor of New York and he was considering running for president during the Great Depression, and because, you know, the Republicans were doing nothing. That was their plan for the American people, was do nothing and watch them starve, because that's what you do. You know, when you're a Republican, you just let whatever, it'll all work itself out. So, like, FDR sent Francis Perkins overseas to study the European social safety net, to study universal health care, unemployment insurance, and a safety net. America had none, had zero safety net. That's the way the Republicans would like it. So just like FDR sent Francis Perkins overseas, and that's why during the Great Depression, when FDR was the governor of New York was the only state in the Union that had any form of social safety net. New York had a form of unemployment insurance. It had a form of Social Security that eventually became Social Security, the nationwide program we know, the unemployment insurance we know today. But that was because of FDR. But so he sent Francis Perkins overseas to study their social safety net. And so like that, that's what the Republicans are doing. You know, Steve Bannon is going all over to study the overthrow of democratic systems, of modern democracies. He went to Hungary. He went to Russia. He went all over to study the illiberal takeovers. Well, Hungary is, they openly say they love Orban, and he talks about an illiberal democracy. So they're not even a democracy, but they are what the Republicans want to do here. You know, kick people out of school, ban trans anything, ban gender studies classes. This is what they did in Hungary. You can't take gender studies in Hungary. They teach you, you know, they tell you what you can learn. It's like the Nazis. You know, and that is the whole thing with conservatism, with this Republican Party. You are free in the constraints that they set for you. You're 100% free in this box. And you can't be anything else. You know, just accept it, and you'll be fine. The beatings will continue until morale improves. And they're the worst. So, yeah. Well, as Peter says on the chat, that Biden was besties with Robert Byrd. Here's the thing. They bring up this Robert Byrd all the time. Because Robert Byrd, here, and this is what gets on my nerves. Robert Byrd was in the Klan, okay? And we know this, right? But they show the picture of Hillary Clinton kissing him on the cheek or something, and she said nice things about him at his funeral. But the thing about Robert Byrd is that he apologized for his youthful indiscretions that he said, you know, he was in the Klan. There was no secret about it. And he said that he was young and stupid, and it was the worst decisions of his life, and that he, in fact, went on to be a champion of civil rights. So, you know, I don't know. What are you going to do? They go back to this is what I'm talking about with Republicans, like constantly. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter. You just keep repeating yourself, and they'll just keep repeating the bullshit, the lies, the shit that they pass around, from Meme University. So, don't take my word for it. It's not like we're like, oh, Robert Byrd, we really loved your, the way you looked in that robe. Robert Byrd apologized for his past actions and his statements that he was a member of the Ku Klux Klan in the 1940s, and he expressed regret for his involvement in this group. In a now I'm reading from this article. In a 2005 interview, he said, "I know I was wrong. I was intolerant. And intolerance has no place in America. I have apologized 1,000 times, and I don't mind apologizing over and over again. But I cannot erase what happened." So he expressed regret for his earlier views in favor of racial segregation. And he also expressed his regret for filibustering the Civil Rights Act. And he says that his views changed dramatically after his teenage grandson was killed in a 1982 traffic accident, which caused him to reflect on his beliefs. And he spent the rest of his political career in support of the civil rights and trying to atone. So, not just by words, but by actions. There you go. What are you going to do? Would you rather be with a party that never changes, that sees that trickle down is a grift? Well, they know that it's a grift. That's the thing. But keeps telling you, put more money in the pockets of the rich, and it'll trickle on you. Tax cuts pay for themselves. They would rather be with a party that of racists who are irredeemable, who never see the error of their ways. I mean, if anything, Robert Byrd, he was a product of his time and his place, that he was in the South, born in the South. He, unfortunately, with Republicans, they never learn. They never change. He was rated, by the end of his life, he was rated a 100% by the NAACP. He had a 100% voting record, and he also was rated 100% by the the NARAL, Pro-Choice America. There you go. He served in the Senate for 50 years, and he evolved, literally. What are you gonna do? I don't know. I'd rather, if somebody evolves, good for them. Good for them. And atones. Right? Don't you think? But so, I don't know. Keep showing that picture of Hillary kissing Robert Byrd. What it does is it sort of proves my point, what I was saying earlier. It doesn't matter how much we explain the truth, how much we try to educate, enlighten. We'll set our clocks to the next time we'll talk. Somebody will bring up Robert Byrd as an example of Democrats being racist, right? It doesn't matter what happened. It's just that. But here's the thing, though. When when Robert Byrd was a racist, that's when the Republicans, when the conservatives were all for him. Now they're just pissed off, and they use it as another cudgel. Right. That's right, Mark C. in the chat. Trump learning from his mentor, Roy Cohn. You never apologize. That's what he said. He taught his protege, the parasite, the con man. You never apologize. You double down on the lie if it serves your ends. And that's what he does. Cry victim. That's another thing. Cry victim. Everyone's picking on me. That's what Trump says all the time. It's so tedious. Yes, it's so unfair, con man, isn't it? It's so unfair, but not in the way he thinks it's unfair. It's unfair that we have to endure sharing the same air with a con man who thinks he's above the law. And sometimes it goddamn looks like it, too. That we have to endure this whining of the con man, of this filthy con man, grifter, who is a traitor. The double standard of this traitor bringing classified documents home, and the Republicans. Oh, here's another thing. I know there's only 4 minutes left in the show, but let's do this. I can go a little longer. That's what she said. Oh, but speaking of the utter and tedious hypocrisy of right-wingers, it never ends. Where is it? Okay, you know that Lauren, banned from the bowling alley, Bobert, is running for another district. She moved districts because she only won her seat by 500 votes. And she's probably going to lose if she stayed in that district. So, but she moved because she likes her cushy, phony, baloney job. She likes the power that she gets from it. She likes the free health care, the universal health care that she'll have for the rest of her life. She likes the pension that she'll have when she gets to be an old bitch. And she likes pensions, you see. Not that, even though she likes to deny pensions for the rest of us, but she likes the peace of knowing that till the day she steps off this mortal coil, she'll have a guaranteed income, not like 401k bullshit that Republicans inflicted on us because they wanted everybody in the stock market, instead of having a guarantee that from the end till the end of their days they could have a little income that will always be there, whether the stock market is up, whether the stock market is down. I'm so sick of the stock market. And this is what they did. That's why they did it. That's why you hear the stock market report on corporate media all the time. You don't hear the labor report when the unionized workforce went from 35% to 5%. You didn't hear a peep. You just heard about, how's your 401k doing? Well, you better hope when you retire, you time it just right. When you get old, that you time it just right, that you're on a bull market. Or I don't even know what's the difference, bull, bear. But this is how it is in this country. You gotta, in between everything else you gotta do, you gotta become like a day trader. Up in the polls, down in the polls, up in the stock, down in the stock. You gotta spend your days going on thinking about what do I want? The bronze plan, the gold plan, the tulip plan. Well, this year, I don't think I'm going to get cancer this year. I'm going to save my cancer for next year. So this year, I'm just going to get a little bit of insurance. I'm not going to get the gold plan. Because I love when Republicans are like, well, you should just get the health care your family needs. Like, yeah, like, as if that's the nature of health, that you can plan it out like that. You know, this year my kid's not gonna get sick or not gonna get any leukemia. We'll save that till 2 years from now, and then I'll get a different plan. All right, well, hold on. This is not exactly the end of the show. We're gonna do one more story. I don't know. I'm just playing the music because I need to cut the segments for Progressive Voices, and we will win. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Check out APS Radio News. Support the show. We will win. All right, so where was I? Here's the how tedious these fuckers are. This is the hypocrisy of Republicans in a nutshell. So they had a debate. So Lauren banned from the bowling alley, Bobert, and also banned from the Beetlejuice show. She's moving districts, and there's a few of these freaks that it's a very Republican district she's moving into. So these freaks they're trying to out-maggot each other, and they've had a debate. You know, because you know how Republicans are. They're like, debate me, bro, debate me. I get messages from them, debate me. Like, I got time to sit here and debate you. Who are you? I want to debate you, but that's why. What do you call it? That's why Perjury Traitor Green, she's always says to AOC, debate me. Like, we're going to give her attention. I mean, Perjury Traitor Green. She won't debate me. All right, so this is how disgusting they are. You know, this is the Law and Order party. Remember that? Where's my laugh track? Law and order. Well, law and order for thee, not for me. That's what they mean. Law and order for brown people. That's what it means. Remember that. It's true. Law and order for anybody who gets in the way of their fascism. Then you get the law and the order. But for them, when law and order comes for them, they're being picked on, or that's something to celebrate. They literally celebrated their arrests. So in this debate, or I guess I could call it a debacle, very fine people indeed. These very fine people were asked if they had ever been arrested, and 6 out of the 9 candidates raised their hands. And then there was a crowd there of maggots, and they all applauded. They all laughed and applauded these fucking traitors with this criminal con man standard bearer, and all the, you know, they're maggot, a parade of maggots who hate America, do not respect America, that disgrace this country, embarrass this country, and they think it's funny. Here's the local news report about it, and I like this news report because the reporters were equally appalled.
National District are celebrating the fact that most of them have been arrested. 6 of the 9 announced their arrest to the cheers of a debate crowd tonight.
Candidates laughed and high-fived about their arrests to the loudest applause of the night. Marshall Zellinger joins us now from Fort Lupton. Marshall,
loudest
these candidates for the district
night.
that goes from Dougco up to Loveland, then out to the Plains, they among them have arrests for altercations with police and striking a family member, drunk driving, and tonight that drew laughter, high fives, and applause.
And it appeared that the candidates raising their hand were raising their hands high as a badge of honor. That interaction at this 9-candidate debate drew the biggest response
Isn't
from
that
the audience
gross?
and the loosest interaction with the candidates.
They're fucking gross.
Have you ever been arrested?
Do we get to?
They're all applauding. And look at the guy at the end. Twice. I was arrested twice. And then Lauren's like, do we get to? She didn't get to finish her sentence. Do we get to? Do we get to what? Get to embarrass and disgrace this country? By squatting in the halls of power? And this is why they hate this country. They debase this country. They don't even want to learn. You know, they brought screaming matches to the halls of Congress, as well as a riotous, traitorous mob who couldn't hold their water or their defecation. And I always think about how, perjury, traitor, green, screaming at the president, her joining, they're jumping on the chairs, screaming at the president during the State of the Union, and then they're screaming at each other and then whatever they triggered each other. Lauren banned from the bowling alley, and perjury, traitor, green went into the ladies' room, had a screaming match. There's just screaming matches everywhere because these fucking people can't govern. They're a joke. They should really, here's the thing. It's insanity. Anybody who votes for them, you should be ashamed of yourself. And the fact is they are unfit. And what else, and what do we expect? Because they don't know their limitations, and that is the hallmark of insanity. Right? An insane person just doesn't know that they can fly, and then they go jumping out the window. Look at me, I'm Superman, right? I can fly. That's what they are. Look at me, I'm a representative of the goddamn United States. It's unbelievable. They don't even want to learn. So they don't. It's not that they bring. They fell ass backwards into this cushy government job where all they use it for is to up their podcast subscriptions or their subscribers, and they don't go there with a sense of duty or awe or what. Oh, I'm gonna be the best representative I can be. I'm gonna really learn how to do this, and I will be a treasure. I'm gonna make my district proud. No, they go there and they bring their inability to function in a free democratic society. They bring their immaturity, screaming at each other. What is this? Is this the high school? Is this the high school president race? What is this? They're disgraceful. It's an embarrassment. It's like Trump in Helsinki. The way they disgrace this country. Oh, ha. See, that's so funny because they're all white. Lauren banned from the bowling alley. She got arrested numerous times. One, she says, oh, some simple. No, there were numerous arrests. And one of them was she was interfering with police business. She was drunk at a festival, and these young people were drinking, and the police were there, and she started encouraging these youth to flee the police. Because why? It's not your business. That's why she got arrested for obstruction. They have no respect. And then she didn't show up to court. So they put a warrant out for her. That's because she has no respect. Like Trump, he gets up and walks out of court. Like, you try that. You try that if you're ever in court. and you're, you have to defend yourself in court. You try that. Try getting up and storming out. See what happens to you. It's fucking disgusting. Ha ha! And then look at that. High-fiving, laughter. Now imagine if this were 9 black people up there at a Democratic debate. Right? Imagine what the Republicans would do. Oh, this is the Democrat Party. They're all celebrating being arrested. This is why we can't have this in this country. They have no respect. This is what we would hear from them. Oh, the Democrats, they have so disgraced this country. But it's okay if you're a Republican. High-fiving, laughing. Jim on the chat said, what was the question? Do you belong behind bars? Yeah, I wish. No, the question was, how many, or have you been arrested? That was the question. Have you ever been arrested? Probably one of them, whoever asked the question, knew that maybe Lauren, banned from the bowling alley, has a long history of petty arrests.
Applause and high fives from a question about being arrested. The question stems from the recent revelation that former State House Minority Leader Mike Lynch was arrested in 2022 for drunk driving and weapons possession. Here is how some of them describe their arrests.
I will tell you, I've been arrested twice, and every time it was for fighting because somebody needed a little attitude adjustment.
How dare you?
That understand people that are human.
People who drink and drive, people who take everybody's life in their own hands and don't give a shit and want to run people over because it's all about them. They don't want to be inconvenienced or, calling an Uber. And this fucking guy, I was arrested because twice people were, they needed an attitude adjustment. Really? I would like to know the other side of the story. Sounds more like, I know a few of them were arrested for domestic violence. Was that your wife that needed an attitude adjustment? If only she knew when to shut her mouth, right? Giving you some lip. You're the head of the household, right? She should know her place. Get me a sandwich, bitch.
We need people that understand people that are human and make mistakes.
My arrest was just a simple traffic violation that
No, it wasn't.
unpaid.
Unpaid. No, there was your arrest? You were arrested multiple times, Lauren, little lying bitch. She's such a liar. Oh, well, she's in the right party for that. Like I said, she was arrested numerous times for not going to court on her arrests, which says complete disdain for the system that she took an oath to now, even though she failed the GED 3 times. Before she passed the fucking GED on the 4th try, a mere few months before she was sworn in. Don't you have any dignity, Colorado? This is who you sent to represent you? Ha! Aren't you a piece of work? And then she goes, just think about who you are when nobody is looking, when you think nobody's looking. The way she behaved in that theater. Not only was she, of course, exposing given her date, who she said was her first date, even though we know that's a lie. And either way, she doesn't look good. She was either cheating on her husband for a very long time, or she's a loose woman. Going on a date with somebody. The first date, she's given a hand job in the theater at Beetlejuice. It's not exactly some, titillating, sexy show. for adults. There's kids there. And there she is, like, jerking the guy off, and he's like, grabbing her boobs, feeling her up. And she's vaping, and in front of the pregnant woman says, "Can you please stop vaping?" No. That's who she is when nobody's looking. Who she is when everybody's looking ain't that good either. But who she is when nobody's looking is abhorrent. Well, who she is when people are looking is pretty abhorrent too. No. And then she said to the woman, "You must be a miserable person." That's who she is. Could you imagine anybody like Bernie Sanders acting like that? Could you imagine AOC acting like that? If they, what do you think they would do on Fox News? They already jerk off to her image every night. And Greg Gutfeld, he so wants to bang her. There's no doubt. But they're repressed, so it comes out as hate, like a little boy putting a girl's pigtails in the inkwell. It was just a traffic ticket that I didn't pay. No, you don't. I mean, how many traffic tickets? You don't go to jail for an unpaid traffic ticket, right? Unless it's a fucking long ass fine, and you haven't gone to court numerous times, and they put you on a warrant. No one goes, maybe they do in Colorado. Do you go to jail for not paying a traffic ticket in Colorado? In Colorado. No, she was interfering with police. She's just a horrible person who doesn't know how to act.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert's interaction with police is a little more than an unpaid traffic violation.
I appreciated that. You see, that's what you do on the corporate media, right? I mean, that's what the corporate media should do. That's what I should say. If we were watching the so-called liberal media like MSNBC or CNN or something, they would never correct them. They would just go to, somebody talking about Trump or something. They just let the lie hang in the air. But I appreciated that this local news station, they did a little bit, they corrected her. It's a little bit more than an unpaid traffic ticket.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert's interaction with police is a little more than an unpaid traffic violation. There was also an altercation with law enforcement at a country music fest.
That's right.
I don't even know, though, Kyle, if it would have mattered what the arrests were for, or if they were accurately portrayed based on the reaction of the people who were here to watch this debate.
Repugnant, aren't they?
Former State Minority Leader Mike Lynch took exception with Bobert when she pointed out that he currently no longer has his gun rights because he's still on probation for his DUI arrest. When it came time for the candidates to ask each other questions, he said he had a question for somebody else, but then pivoted to Bobert and asked her to define the word carpetbagger, which means basically a politician who is running for office in a district where they have no connection.
And Marshall, if anybody was concerned that she was going to come into this big race as the only one with personal baggage, everybody else just opened their luggage tonight upon the stage and appeared
nobody
to be
cares,
quite proud,
he's
almost gleeful of the contents.
This is a maggot district.
And I believe based on the results from the people who were here, they did a snap poll to see who won of the crowd here. Jerry Sonnenberg led that number with 22 votes, followed by Mike Lynch with 20 votes. So Mike Lynch, the person who's most recent in the news for an arrest, is popular within the people who are here listening to all this.
Unbelievable.
There's certainly no doubt what the rank-and-file Republican voter in that district is looking for these days. We should note there was a 10th candidate who was not at the forum tonight. Justin Schreiber is facing current felony charges. Marshall, thank you.
This is a trash party. It's a trash dumpster fire. That's the Republican Party, and that's why it's irredeemable and must be smashed legally and peacefully into history's trash bin. And that district, I mean, one good thing, because she's moved districts, maybe she will lose and we will be rid of her. But whoever's going to take that seat is not going to be much better. So they are a irredeemable death cult, a trash fire, a dumpster fire, a greed-centered ghouls, ghosts of the Gilded Age with a tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator con man as a standard bearer, and the rest of the party are a bunch of lick spittles who have no decency, have no dignity, hate democracy, and that's what we're up against. So anyway, how's your Friday going? All right, guys, listen. We will have another show during the week. If you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. I'll have to check out what's going on with these YouTube memberships, if they're up and running. If they're not running, I got to get the emojis going, I don't know. I got to get a lot of shit going. All right. But thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Thank you, River, for your super chat. I love you, too. Thank you for your little heart emoji. And that's very sweet. Your very generous super chat. Thank you, Mark C, for your super chat. Very nice to see you, Mark. Oh, yeah, justice is coming. And thank you, Charlie D, for your super chat. So nice to see you coming back to the show on Friday nights. And I hope to see you regularly. Why can't I talk? All right. And Kathy, thank you. And Jim and Haiku, thank you for being moderators, guys. And everybody, Errol, nice to see you. I wasn't being mean. Talking about, what's that face? Anyway, yes, it's Ed. That's an insult to urinal cakes. Exactly. Okay, guys, listen. Twisted Nerves Painting, nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. We will work it because we are worth it. And we need each other. So we have a lot of work to do. This is going to be an interesting year. God help us. But we will win. We will. Because you know why? We're on the right side of history. It's true. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out tonight. I had a great time. I hope you had a good time too. And my name is Tara Devlin. Tell your friends. Everybody's invited. And I will see you during the week.